Hey team, welcome back to the show. Today it is Coach Andrea and I talking through a little bit more on the coaching side of things. Even if you're not a coach, this will be very applicable to your own physique development, but digging a little bit deeper into kind of our coaching story, how we got started, how we've evolved, and kind of the methods we use currently that we find to be most effective for clients. So really, I mean, digging into the secret behind elite level client results. This will be a super fun one to get into, a little bit different than like any episodes we've done recently. So I'm excited for this. Before we really get into the topic, any updates from you want to fill the listeners in on?
Not really. Things have really not changed since last time we updated. We had just added cardio. I'm officially in a build phase now. So I figure that's going to kind of be the story for a bit. Like things just kind of hit a point where we coast for a while, which
Yeah.
is not a bad thing.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So kind of
Same
same
with you.
place, not a whole lot
Yeah.
to add. Yeah. Yeah. On that side of things, more or less the same as well.
Yeah.
Feeling
We
quite
need
good with where we're
Natalie here for
at.
the exciting physique updates.
Oh, yeah, for sure. On my end, I did start a channel on Instagram just yesterday.
Yeah.
So if you follow me, join that. Um, I honestly just wanted I feel like with content creation lately, I've kind of been stuck in just overthinking it a bit. If that, like I was putting out like every day for so long and I didn't feel like that was like my best, most creative work. But then I feel like shifting back to less, I've kind of been in a place where it's like now I feel like every post that I make has to be just like this masterpiece. And I
Yeah.
want to like have more of a just like almost like stream of consciousness type place to just like dump things. So I don't know if
Yeah, I
anyone's
saw
actually
that.
interested in that or not.
It made me realize I haven't put anything in my channel for like 2 or 3 months. That's the place that I overthink mine. So that
Oh,
inspired me
really?
to, yeah, yeah, that inspired me to like put some more stuff in there and not overthink it quite as much.
Yeah. I mean, my goal with it is to literally just be like it's not curated at all. Just again, kind of like stream of consciousness, almost like some people would use like a Twitter thread, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So we'll see. And also, share a little bit more of like, I don't know, my life, music I'm into, things like that. If I don't know if anyone is actually interested in that or not, but I'm interested to see how it goes.
I didn't even know you
Um,
listen to music.
I do occasionally. I mostly listen to like white noise or like the
Yeah,
like
lo-fi.
I'm just yeah binaural beats. No, so I mean it'll be fun. I do feel like it's like I've already had like so many like, oh, I could put this in there. I again just like feel like from like the creative side of things, it's like it just feels like it's like a good way to open that up for me a bit
Hmm.
more. And also just like especially for the people who do like really enjoy following and enjoy our content, I think it's a good way to make sure that like connecting with them more and can like provide more value there as well. So I'm excited for
Yeah.
that. But that's really all I have. Anything else before we get into it?
No, let's do it.
Cool. All right. So let's kind of start by talking through our intro to coaching. Andrea, what originally got you obsessed with physique transformation?
Honestly, for me, this has been kind of a slow burn. Like I originally, so I've always done something athletic, but it wasn't physique focused until a lot more recently, and it's just kind of morphed and shifted over time. So originally there were like school sports and then college sports and long distance running. I made a big shift after having my son, and I really don't even I think I started following Mike Matthews content, and that's what got me into more
Really?
structured lifting. Yeah. Cuz
Okay.
I was lifting previously, but it was just like whatever I thought about for the day, like find an app, do random workouts sort of thing. And Mike Matthews programming was the first time I followed something where the weeks repeated over and over. And that's kind of what got me into it because first it was powerlifting because I was like, I really like this squat and deadlift thing. This is fun because I'm seeing progress every week since I'm actually repeating the same workouts. And then powerlifting was fun, but once I had Tate, my youngest, I shifted over to just more the physique enhancement side because that started to just become more fun to me. And I was also getting hurt. Like my lower back would be hurt every other month with powerlifting, which is not any fault of powerlifting itself. It's just how I was performing it.
Yeah.
But I then I just started having so much more fun with the physique transformation side of things. And that's been my obsession for the last like 8 years. What about you?
Yours has evolved a lot though. Like I was
Oh
saying the
yeah.
other day, like when we started working together, you said you didn't want to build a lot of muscle. You just wanted to be able to wear cute mom clothes or something like that.
Mom clothes. I am
Which is,
confident I didn't say mom clothes.
I swear to God, you said that those were your exact words. You
Cute
said cute mom
clothes?
clothes.
Yes,
You said
because
mom clothes. I remember. That's why I remember it so
we're gonna have
distinctly.
to
I
dig
bet
in
I
the
could still
archives
find the
because that is
email.
not a phrase that would come out of me.
I promise you, those were the exact words. I'll find the email.
But it and I can see like I still think like okay, I am in the right place, the right um profession for me to be able to have this obsession with building as much muscle as I can because man, clothes are so much better fit for having muscle now than they were then. That was like
For
what
sure. Like
6 7 years
2018,
ago
29, yeah, 2018,
and
2019.
and clothes at that time just were not meant for having any sort of glutes. So
It is actually wild that that was like 6 or 7 years ago.
yeah. Yeah. I mean what I wanted was to build muscle without actually like it changing how my clothes fit.
That is such a good point to bring up, though, because that is something I
Yeah.
talk to with clients all the time is when we're building, and I can see visually, dude, you're lean. We're adding tissue. Like, we're not adding a lot of body fat here at all. But this, like, my clothes feel different on my body, and that's freaking me out. That
Yeah.
comes up a lot where we're building muscle. We are changing the shape of your physique. We can't have this, like, hey, I built my glutes up a tremendous amount, but my pants fit exactly like they did when I just like had a pancake butt, right? It's not going to be the same. That's something to though understand will happen if the goal
Mhm.
is to build muscle.
Yeah.
Um, what got me obsessed with it? Originally, it was just that I thought it would be super funny to be able to like bounce my pecs, do like a pec pop when I was like in a serious conversation with someone. So me and my one of my really good friends, Wyatt, who was like my lifting partner, like through like high school and college after we both like got super into it at the same time. Um, Honestly, we just like got obsessed with it after that. That was what originally got me into it, and then it was like when I started, that was like my junior year of high school. I never like we had like training for football, but I never like took it all that seriously. And then it was, and I honestly like wasn't too attached to like the strength side of things. I mean, I didn't take anything seriously at the time, and I wasn't like too concerned about being good at football or anything like that. But the aesthetic side of things and like how much I could change my body was also always super like it was very cool to me because I felt like it did just change so quickly, and I was so skinny then. I mean, I was like 6'3". I think I was like 150s in the 150s, like my junior year, which like so like I'm like 65 pounds heavier now than I was then. And it was like it was really cool to see how my body could change, like how quickly at the time, especially I responded. I felt like it was just like morphing. And I got so interested in it. And then like that kind of as I like started college and I was like trying to figure out what my career would be at, there's like I don't know. I think I really like I want to be a personal trainer, right? It was like the first time I took pre-workout. We just like lifted for like 3 hours and I was like, this is it. I love this. I'm gonna be like a some type of personal trainer. And then I like started getting into like at the time it was like I mean Instagram was like just starting then, which was also crazy. Because what I started college like 2011, 2012 was my freshman year. And I was following a dude. I started following this dude, Corey Gregory, on Twitter, who like love his energy. He's for sure not who I would go to for like our like the way we coach now, but it was so cool to me how it was just like what he did for his career was he was like a content creator. He like had this like gym that was like a semi-private, it was like a semi-private private gym, and he would just like post his own training. He would like post like the people he was helping there and like all this like stuff about nutrition and training, and just like had this forum at the time of people who would like he would like post all the stuff he was doing or like the stuff that had worked for like clients of his in the past. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And I was like, in some way, shape, or form, I just want to do that. And that really is, I feel like, what got me into it, and it has kind of evolved into this over the years. Anything else before we get into the next one?
No, let's do it.
Was there a specific moment or client result that made you realize you really wanted to take coaching seriously?
For me, I was coaching kind of like as a side gig and to
Hmm.
have some way to channel this passion that I had while I was also just like being a stay-at-home mom. And I was training in a gym, but then we moved and we moved twice. And so this was a way for me to keep my um myself in this in some way. But I wasn't really, it's not that I didn't take it seriously, but I didn't I wasn't doing very well at it. Like I just wasn't serving my clients as well as I now know I could be because I just didn't have any systems in place. It
A lot
was
of coaches
all
just don't know what they don't know. Like the world is
exactly,
so
yeah.
small.
And I
Yeah.
was just trying to gather as much information, and this was so early on. There was not a course I could take or resources I could find on how to set up systems for any of it. And so it was all email based. It was basically like send me an email every Monday on your check-in day that has just a little blurb about how your week was and your waist measurements, and you're going to be tracking in my fitness pal and I can look at that. And that was basically it. So it just wasn't very structured or like a very good service. But
What
I was
year?
charging
What
like
years would you say this was?
this was let me think. I always have to relate it to how old my kids are. This would have been about 10 years ago. So 20.
Coaching, the online coaching was really just like kind of starting to become a thing, but it wasn't
Mhm.
by any means what it is now.
Yeah. And so once I would say it was really hiring you because you were my first coach that helped me to like put some systems into place because I was able to see what your systems were and like, oh, I should be using a tracker for my clients. And like how to just have a little bit more structure to their check-in day. And all of that is kind of the turning point for me with my coaching. I started picking up more clients. Then there was COVID, which was kind of threw things for a loop as well. Um, and then, of course, whenever I started working with you on the team, that was a whole new evolution because then I was actually like using your systems and um, started coaching more clients. My kids were starting to go to either camps or school, and now I was able to do this as more than just a side gig. Um, a specific moment with clients, I wouldn't say that there's any one specific moment, but I there are some early clients that I was coaching where I started to be like more confident in my abilities as a coach. Um, one of the big ones was Mariah, who I actually am working with again now. Mariah lost like 35 pounds. She just gave such a great um unprompted testimonial about how much better she felt and how much confidence she had afterward, and that really was one of the first ones who had a major transformation, and
Mm.
that just gave me a lot more confidence as a coach. And then since since that point, of course, I've worked with hundreds of women and um have been able to be a lot more consistently delivering results. But it hasn't been like one clicking moment where
Yeah.
it's more just been like a building over time.
Okay. Okay. I could see that though. I think like I remember like Mariah's first, which has been cool to see like where you guys are at now. Um, it's again crazy all this was so long ago because that was like what I guess was that 2020. It was 2020, right? When we started because it was just me, hired
Mhm.
Andrea, became a team. Um, it's crazy how long ago that was as well. Uh, was there a specific moment or client result that made you realize you really wanted to take things seriously? For me, again, it was like I mean, like when I was in high school, I thought I might be like an architect or something of that sort. And then, like, honestly, once I got set on this was like all I've ever thought I would do, actually, in some way, shape, or form. Like, it was going to be like I was coaching or had like a company that was fitness, nutrition in some way, shape, or form. And I never really honestly thought anything differently. So I don't feel like there's been like I feel like I took it seriously from the start. Um, when I actually started training people in person, like 2014, I initially just actually didn't, I really didn't like it. I was super frustrated because like I was working at the campus rec center. And I was just being a baby about it, but I was working at the campus rec center and it was like legitimately like most of my clients couldn't speak English hardly at all because it seemed like the foreign exchange students were the only ones who had money to do it. Not anything against that sounds terrible. It's not because they're foreign exchange students that I
Well, if
didn't
you
like.
can't clearly communicate with them, though, that makes your job extremely difficult. And when you're brand new, that's a whole layer of complication.
Which ultimately like they were like it was still really fun. Like I really enjoyed it, but it was like the picture I had in my head was like I'm gonna work with like all these people who want to get jacked. Like maybe I'm gonna get to work with like some athletes and things like that. And that wasn't the case initially. It was really fun. It just was like, man, like I don't know. I don't feel like this is just like not that serious for like any of these people. I had these two dudes who were so funny from China. I remember always like two foreign exchange students from China. And this one dude loved Avril Lavigne, and he would be like, always ask like his buddy to play this Avril Lavigne song when we were bench pressing. He'd be like, "This song gives me so much power." That is just like the funniest, one of my favorite memories of all time, dude. Was just these studios were super cool. They were like, I loved working with them. But I had one client. So I mean, the first few months, I was like, shit, like I don't really care about anything else. I don't feel like I have not really paid attention at all in school. I've just been like floating through life so far and planning on like this being the thing. And then I had a client named Daniel who he did do like he actually let me like give him more input on the nutrition side of things, follow my advice, and basically said he came in one day. He was just super excited. Basically, he's like, I shop at J. Crew. They don't make pants for fat people, so I've never been able to get a pair of pants from there, and I was able to fit in my first pair of pants from there. And then like simultaneously his wife who like they had like had a long distance thing because she was like in grad school somewhere else. They like she'd seen him for the first time in like months and was like, oh my gosh, you look so good, you've changed so much. And it was really cool like how excited he was about it. And I don't know, I can't explain it, but it like made me so, I was just like, that's so cool that I could have like such an impact on this person. I just feel like I never really like felt like I was good at anything before. And I think that was part of it as well. It was like gave me a lot of validation. Um, and then like immediately, like when I went home that day, it was like mapping out like, okay, here's what I'm gonna turn this into, here's where we're gonna go. Like it started mapping out a lot more of like, here's how I'm actually gonna build this. I am gonna take this a lot more seriously. That's and then I mean since then it was a weird like I don't it's really hard to even explain what happened, but it was like because I was like what that was 2014. So I was like 21 or 22 already and I was just like I'd never like been able to get myself to like really work hard at anything. And I feel like I just like completely changed as a person after that. Like it was like my like last year of school was just starting and it was like suddenly I went from like I'm barely scraping by to like my grades are great and I can like I don't know, I just felt like after that just like so focused on like okay, this is what I want. I'm like
Hmm.
it's hard. It's really hard to explain. But it was
Well,
a big shift.
it yeah, but it kind of is because that's what happens with successful clients. Like they have no direction And so therefore they
Mhm.
just kind of flounder and don't succeed. And then once they have a clear plan that where they can see the vision, that's where things tend to click and they do well.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point, and I do think a lot more people are just missing that side of things and
Mm-hmm.
might we might realize or they might realize. Things really started clicking for me. I honestly, coaching is something that really comes quite naturally to me. I think like from the start, like when I started working in like, so basically after I graduated, I started working in just a big box gym at an Anytime Fitness. And I don't say this to be a dick, but like right away, I was so much better at like my clients were immediately like doing so much better than anyone else. And a part of it was I just like took it way more seriously, I think. And I was like giving them training to do outside of just our session together. I was like studying and constantly focusing on like learning and improving. But I feel like there's a lot of levels to it. I feel like there's so many different times where it's like similar to you, like I was coaching online. I don't remember if I started in 2017 or 2018, but it was like a I sucked at it initially. When I started went from like in person to online, I started like trying to work with I was doing both, but like trying to coach people online, I was terrible at it. When I hired my first coach immediately, it was like, "Oh wow." Again, it was just like my world just got so much bigger because my world
Mm-hmm.
before was just like myself versus the other trainers in Lincoln, Nebraska, at this like gym chain. And then it was like, oh wow, there's like this whole world of people out there who like, and I thought I knew, like back then, I thought I knew so much more. I thought I knew everything I needed to know. Now I don't feel like that at all. But it was just like, I saw like how this dude delivered things, how much more like there was left on the table. And again, it was like genuinely my world just like suddenly got so much bigger. Um, I would say I feel like stuff really, really started to click. It's hard to say because I feel like even looking back at like 2 years ago, I was like, man, I sucked then. Like I'm so much better now. Um,
Yeah.
I do feel like once we really got a good grasp on, like we've gotten really good client results since, like can go back to like 2015, 2016 from clients in person where it's like, damn, this person crushed this transformation. I feel like us understanding the functional side of things, which what our guy Brandon DeCruz was that 2021.
I
I
That
think
sounds
so.
right.
We went through that mentorship with Brandon, and that really started to like. I feel like that was one of the last, and like spent the next couple of years like digging deep into this. I think that was one of the last. That was kind of like the last Jenga block, so to speak, where it was like there are still some people who like I can't get to respond, and I don't know why that is. And understanding that side of things, I feel like made it okay. I feel like I can really help with whatever here, but it's just always evolving. I don't know. I feel like even now, like for a while there, I wasn't coaching nearly as many people. In the last year, I've started coaching a lot more people. And even like now versus the last time I was coaching this many people, it is wild how much better I'm able to like coach everyone, how much better everyone does. So it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to say like a specific time when it clicked.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There's been multiple clicks where you just you feel like there's almost growth spurts in knowledge where we feel like we're doing things pretty well, and then a lot of it correlates with mentorships, and then it just opens up a whole nother section that we're just newbies in. And I felt that same way with Prescript. And I feel like that's been another click with getting people uh, to build muscle more efficiently, because I can see now things that are holding someone back and how we can change their setup and their like specific to their movement dysfunction. That's been a whole nother click. So yeah, I mean, it's there's not just one thing. And I think that if we if we weren't in these different mentorships or courses that we've done, it'd be really easy to just like stay where we were and feel really confident in our knowledge, because it is like, oh my gosh, this whole other thing, we don't know anything here. That really sucks for a while. But then once you get over that hump, it really is really helpful and helps our clients level up so well.
Yeah, I think that is probably the biggest thing that I and our entire team have done well. The entire time I've been coaching and the entire time we've had the team in place has been constantly learning. And for sure the last like 3 4 years, as it's gone from like we didn't really have we didn't have like a whole lot of mentorship. Like we were still learning a ton, but it was more so like I'm gonna read this book. I'm gonna like maybe take this course, but like I mean now we have multiple mentors on retainer who we like are in constant communication with. And I think that like being the case for the last few years, that it like has led to a tremendous amount of growth because I feel like the last 2 years especially we've actually grown more as coaches. Like it's crazy how much we've grown then, and we were very like again we were doing very well before. Clients were doing very well before, but it's still just like I think part of what helps all of us a lot as coaches is we all love this and are fascinated with it and just want to continue learning. Like even if it was like I wasn't coaching anyone, I would want to be learning about this. Like this is what I would be doing. This is what I'd be reading about. And it was what I was doing like before I was actually coaching people as well. It's just cool that
Mhm.
it's a business write off for me now also. So um, let's get into client results. Transformations are next level. Our clients do very well. What do you think though separates the clients who absolutely crush it versus those that just do okay?
There are a few different things here that I would say are big rocks, but one that immediately comes to my mind is the I don't even know how to phrase this concisely, but people who don't make mountains out of molehills, like they just are able to organize their schedule and stay low stress and just roll with it. It's some some people some people are just more prone to overthinking and stress and making something way bigger than it needs to be, like getting in their training session or whatever the case is. And then other people are just like, cool, I'm on it. And I started to say, like, because I think that this is the case for me. I think that moms do super well with this, but I think that that's just my bias because I can also think of a lot of my clients who aren't moms who crush it and are this exact same way. But I feel like whenever I was working just like college jobs, I was like not the best employee. Like I did my job and I was fine, but I also feel like, and same thing as a student, I feel like if I went back and did that now, I could do so much better because like the level of things that you're handling in a day, it's put into perspective whenever you take on more. It's like, oh, how did I feel like I had so much going on at that point? Like it was really, I should have felt like that was really easy. Um, so yeah, does that all make sense? I feel like that was kind of a jumble, but
Yeah, no, I understand where you're at. I think that I was gonna say something very similar, like with, hey, we're not making mountains out of molehills. We're not making things harder than they need to be. As a whole, the way you're approaching it, and we're not gonna force you to do anything. We're not forcing you to pay us and then do all this stuff, right? We want to be here, right? This is why you signed up for this in the first place. So we need to want the things that come with that. And making sure that as a client, if you sign up with a coach, you understand like if you want a different result, that also entails behavior change. We are doing things differently with like maybe we're training differently, we're approaching cardio differently, our nutrition differently, things of that nature. Um, I would say as a whole, now there are a lot of clients who are making like typically people are when we make decisions, there are those who are more emotionally driven in the way we like make decisions, the way we act, and there are those who are more logically driven in like the way we act. I typically, as a whole, we typically tend to attract more like a logically driven type client. Like we've talked about, like we have a shit ton of people who are engineers who
mhm.
work with us, love them, y'all are the best. And it very much is like I'm very logically driven. I think you're quite the same.
Yeah.
Um, but as a whole, when someone is more, when the decisions we're making around like, are we going to train today? Are we going to do XYZ with the nutrition? When those are more emotionally driven and they're based on like, how do I feel in the moment? It is a lot harder for someone to be successful. So it is like, not that that's a bad thing by any means, but typically like I would say the people who are the most successful don't spend a ton of time analyzing how they're feeling or how they're feeling about the thing, if that makes sense. Like we wouldn't know how you feel. We wouldn't know if you feel like shit. But it's very easy to just like, oh, I feel hungry. Should I feel hungry? I'm not sure. I don't feel like doing my cardio today. Shouldn't I feel like doing my cardio? Am I broken because of that? Is like, it's not the right plan for me because I don't feel like doing my cardio today. Like I think that it's very easy if we're spending too much time analyzing how we feel to always find like a reason to like, I should be, is this wrong? Am I just not cut out for this? When it's normal. That's how everyone just like doesn't feel like doing the thing sometimes. Everybody, and it's that makes it quite a lot harder versus if you were able to just, I'm not always going to be feeling it, but I can still be successful. Um, Structure, which you kind of spoke to as well, organization is a huge one. There are so many people who have the best intention. And again, all these are things I feel like are in part intentionally, like with the messaging. Honestly, we don't have a lot of clients who I feel like struggle with these things. It is okay if you do. We're still happy to help. But honestly, a lot of our people are a lot more logically driven, typically like very type A, very organized. That is very intentionally who I speak to because that is who we work the best with. Um, but when like there is typically like a kind of like a client avatar. We were just talking about this before, where it's typically is like this person who has best intentions every week to, okay, this is gonna be the week I'm gonna get on track, I'm gonna nail my nutrition, etc. But just their life is so unorganized and chaotic that this always ends up being pushed back, right? It's going to be like, well, I'm not meal prepped again this week, but I'm going to find the time somehow to make it work, or I'm going to find the time to get that training session in. And it's like this person can get so frustrated with themselves because I don't know why I just can't make it happen. And it's like your systems are the problem. The way we're setting our life up is just not set up to be successful, right? It's like, imagine if like you had a kid and it was like, I'm going to feed them when I find the time this week. Or I'm going to like tell them I love them when it's like this is way darker than I meant to. Let's back that up. Um, find the time to tell your kids you love them. Point of that being like if like your child rearing was like, I don't know why I'm even using this as an example. Not a parent, so terrible example. But if that was like I'm sure I'll find the time. Like I've done terrible this last like month, but I'm gonna like find some time for sure this week. But I'm not gonna change anything with like my intention and like setting myself up to be successful here. Probably not gonna go any better. And you wouldn't approach it like that, right? But it is so often just like a systems thing. Systems being the things like, okay, dude, we know your weeks are constantly chaotic. We know you're not gonna magically just find the time to be able to like hit all your macros and cook like 5 meals, 3 meals, whatever it is a day. This week isn't going to be that different. We have to like set you up for success and like have a schedule and things like that in place. Like this is what's holding you back. That makes it a lot harder because I think that a lot of times it's if you're not someone who naturally has that, which I am definitely not, and I will say like every night I will time block my next day and plan out my most important tasks, and I hate it every single night because it's just like the most painful thing I could do next to like unloading the dishwasher, which takes so long. It just, it's like that level of the, I don't know if that's painful for you, but for me, it's so painful. Anyways, but it truly is like that's the thing that probably is holding you back more than we wanted to just be like, I just need the right training program. Anything else you would add there?
Yeah, I mean, if something happens more than once or twice, it's probably something you need to analyze a bit and look at. Like, okay, this is clearly going to be a repeated thing, and find what can circumvent that before it comes up again. I'll add one more too to the like what separates these type of clients. I would say having fun with it. You kind of
Sure.
somewhat touched on it a little bit, but all of our clients that are crushing it just love this stuff and find a way to have fun with it. And that doesn't mean like, oh my gosh, I feel this way with cardio. I don't like absolutely love it. It's fine. I don't hate it. But whenever I'm looking at my overall just general feelings toward this hobby or sport or whatever you want to call it, like it's just so fun. It's so fun
Mhm.
to progress and like follow through on the things that you're saying you're going to do, and the outcome is kind of like an outward expression of that internal change that's happened. And that's how all of our all of our most successful clients view it too. Like you can just feel the enjoyment and the fun from their words and their check-ins.
I would agree. And again, that's a big part of what I love about our people is most everyone is coming from that place of, I
Hmm.
just love this stuff. Yes, I want to see results. I want to see my physique change. But ultimately, I'm here because I just love the process of this, right? I'm not too attached to like, oh my gosh, I have to get to the X point or I'm going to be so unhappy with myself, right? It is very much like this is just fun. Cool. Like, let's get jacked. Let's get lean together. It'll be great. That's so fun. And I love that about so many of our people. What are 2 to 3 things you do differently, we do differently in our intake or onboarding process that you think most coaches overlook?
A big one that we overlooked for a long time was having a goal physique picture. And I think that coaches probably shy away from this because we can't give anyone their goal physique picture. Like it's somebody else. But it has clarified so much with what the timeline needs to look like, but also how we need to communicate with this person. So if somebody gives me a goal physique picture that has a ton of muscle and are really lean, and they say something like, I don't really want to train my glutes too much because my butt's already big, we can refer back to this picture and have a very tangible thing to refer to. It says, well, this person has a lot of glute tissue. Is this still something that is this still the goal physique that we're after? Because I think that stuff like that is just a very common misconception. Like when we're in the middle of it, it feels different than whenever we've arrived at that. Not that we ever like arrive, all of us are just continually chasing something, but when we get to the end of a build phase or the end of a fat loss phase, that's different than when we're in the middle of it and it feels like we're, I don't know, I've kind of lost the plot on this sentence, but I think you see what I'm saying there. Like it's very easy to confuse what we want or feel in the moment for what's going to get us there toward that goal physique. So that was a huge one, and I wish we would have started doing that way earlier because that's been so helpful. Um Also asking for specifics on things like what time of day are you training? What are foods that you like and dislike? Can we look at your food logs? Like things like that are so helpful because we can see there's what we're being told and what we can actually see in food logs specifically. So when someone's recounting what does an average day of your eating look like, that's great and it really helps. But people are recounting their best day. And so if we can actually look through food logs, we can see like, oh, okay, we actually did eat somewhat like that on this day or part of this day, but the rest of the week really wasn't anything like that. And we're missing this, and this micronutrient that we need to fill in order to get the best result. Um, what do you think? What are some others?
I think the physique shots, like the goal physique pictures as well, are huge. I normally tell people if I'm signing a client up for you, I'll say it's guaranteed Andrea will get you here in 6 months. Or I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I
I always
appreciate
say
that.
we can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
Or I always say, like, of course, I can't just snap my fingers and give you this person's physique, but it gives us a good idea of where your head is at, what we want to accomplish here. That is tremendously helpful to see because you will, what I have found, what I think one of the biggest things that has showed me is, or did show me was I needed to be pushing a lot of my clients harder than
Mm-hmm.
I realized because they would just be like, well, I just want to get lean. I just want to get like toned. I don't want to get like too ripped. I don't want to get too much muscle. And then you see like the goal physique and it's like, okay, we want to be pretty ripped and we actually want to have a lot of muscle. Are we on the same page with this? Yeah. And it's just so much more helpful than just like a vague, like, I just want to be lean, like I just want to wear cute mom clothes or whatever. Uh, I think another thing that people miss, and this very much ties into that, is laying out a rough timeline for the client. This is something we always do, and we're always revisiting this. Again, it's hey, this isn't set in stone. Can't predict exactly how things will go, how your body will respond, but based on the goal physique we have here versus where we're starting at, let's map out. Here's what I'm thinking week by week our process will look like as we move through these different phases, and then constantly updating that as we are achieving goals, we're getting closer to goals, reassessing like, hey, are we still on the same page here? Do I think we need to reassess like how long this is actually going to take? And making sure we always have something that we're working towards. And just using that as a way to remind the client what we're working towards. Because I think kind of what you were saying, like it's easy to get caught up in the like halfway through the journey of like, it's easy to kind of lose sight of where you're going if you don't have the reminder of like, hey, remember, it was so easy to just pull up, okay, here's our timeline. This is what we're working towards. We're like halfway there right now. It doesn't feel like right now, it might feel like it's not as gratifying, but I promise you it will, like as we get further and further into this, but kind of just like be able to keep clients fresh and very much in their mind of where we're going. Um, Getting specifics on the equipment that they have available, very helpful. Um, in terms of a movement screen is also helpful, more so just so you can see how someone is built than necessarily like I feel like I take in like their kind of movement skill level, then like I take a ton from like, oh, I'm gonna program like for this, like I see they're like they lack internal rotation in their left hip or something like that. Like I don't feel like you get a ton of that, but you see like how someone is built, their limb links. And then when you compare that with, and this is the equipment they have, not just like, hey, we have a leg press, but they have like the side back squat press. And okay, based on how they're built, like we want to build glutes, this is going to be a really good option for us, most likely. It just allows us to get a lot more specific with the programming initially. Um, I would say those are a few of the things that stand out initially. Even just like, I mean, in the past, there was a while we didn't even like have people submit physique shots until their like first check in, which I think was a huge mistake as well. So much can having that like be part of the initial intake, which is crazy to me. We didn't do that at all for a while because it helps so much in just like, okay, are we truly like where you described? Because a lot of times our perception where we're at is worse or sometimes better than we might think. Anything else that stands out there before we continue?
No.
Okay. Um, how much of the success do you think comes from the strategy? So our macros, the phases of nutrition, etc., versus the relationship side of things in coaching?
So I think that actually the relationship and coaching side of things, that is almost like a separate, that should be like a separated thing, because there's everybody's personality is so different, and there are clients where it feels like a fun like friendship relationship, because that's just they just are good at clicking with people, and that's just like somebody that clicks with my personality. And then someone else who that's not the case, but we still get great results because I'm coaching them. And so the relationship side of things, it's not to me as imperative for their success. It's fun whenever I do feel like I click really well with someone and have that rapport, but I don't think it's I don't think it's like a necessary part of the ingredients for great results. So
Uh,
I really think that it's more like this has been kind of posed as strategy versus relationship and coaching, but I really think it's strategy and coaching that are the biggest two ingredients here, because I can talk to someone in the way that they need to hear things to get them to follow through and know what they need to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's like a super close relationship. That sounds bad because I would love it if there was with every single person, but that's just not realistic, you know?
yeah, no, I think this is very important. And this is part of why I like left that as a relationship because I think like I know this is a mistake I made in the past. And I think that a lot of coaches are still like in this mindset of I think just a lot of times are focused on the wrong things within their role. I think it is very much like a we have how I would look at it is we have the strategy side of things, and coaching is part of that as well. But then we have like coaching slash communication. The
Mhm.
communication is very important. Do I understand how to communicate with this person? Can they communicate with me well? Where they're struggling? And to a degree, like the relationship helps us communicate. And that's like I have a great relationship with my clients. I like my clients a lot. But I am not going into this. Like I like all my people. And again, I think this is like a coaching is a weird thing because I feel like you see so much out there that's like my role as a coach is just to like be your friend is how it seems like a lot of people perceive it. Like I'm gonna be your biggest cheerleader. I'm gonna be like we're gonna have the best relationship. You can call me whenever you want to. And it's like, yes, that is great, but is that what the person actually like is coming to you for? And if so, that's perfectly fine. And again, it's like I know a ton about like a lot of my clients. I feel like I enjoy the relationship that I have with so many of my clients, but it's not like a if we can communicate well. Because I also have some clients where it is like, yeah, they're like we communicate, they talk through what's going on, they talk through any struggles they're having, life changes, etc. Anywhere they need my help, I give them my insights. But it is again more so like a professional relationship
Mhm.
than like oh my gosh, like you broke up with your significant others. Please tell me more about that. If this is like impacting our process, cool, we'll work through it. But it's, and I care. Like, oh, that sucks. Like I don't, you know what I mean? But it's like,
Mhm.
I think it very easily turns into, or what I've seen in the past is a lot of time, like a lot of coaches feel like to provide more value, they need to be, or like don't feel valuable. So they feel like they have to like try extremely hard to like I need to make sure this person likes me. I need to like make sure I'm like obsessed with like all these other details that aren't really actually that relevant to our work together. And it's almost like it just again, I know this like I don't know why, but I still feel kind of bad talking about this too because it sounds cold and it's not like
Yeah.
because I wish I could like see like I do have like a great like a lot of clients where we have like great like jokey relationship, but it's also like a it can get to the point where like you doing that is actually distracting from the things that are important for the person to get the result. And we're not focused on the right things. We're just focused on like, does this person like me versus what do I need to tell this person to get the result? Right. And like your role is to lead said person, hold them accountable, challenge them, push them. And if it is too much, just like I am acting based on what will make them like me the most, it's quite hard to also have that like leadership role where we can really challenge people. We can push them. Or like this is something I've run into in the past is like if you do get too deep into that, then when you do need to have those conversations, people's feelings really get hurt because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Jeremiah, you're always like normally so nice to me. And now what is this? And it's like, I don't, and it's, you need to be able to have that at all times as a coach. So I think that honestly, I think the strategy and the communication is incredibly important. I don't think there has to have like a be a like, oh, we're such good friends and we bonded it over this and this and this for the person to get the result. And that's typically what clients are coming to us for. The outcome that they want. Not because it's like, I want to like know so much more about Jeremiah and I want him to talk. I want to like talk with him about like all these other factors of my life, right? That's typically not, I don't know. I don't generally think that's why people hire a coach, but
Yeah. Yeah, I
my two
agree.
cents.
And the relationship also, that takes time to develop too. So,
Hmm.
I mean, just by that alone, it's like we're I don't know. It's like more of a mutual respect sort of thing that happens from the start. But the relationship side, where it's like now you've kind of developed this rapport where you can kind of joke with each other and things like that, that just takes more time. But we're getting results well before that kind of thing has time to even develop.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And sometimes, again, it is just always just a professional, very cordial
Mm.
relationship. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's, I think it's pointless for either party to try to force it. Like I have some
Something,
clients where, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I have some, like a few clients where like, hey, I know this person gets my sense of humor and I'll be like a lot more jokey with them. Most people don't understand my sense of humor at all. And it just like makes things weird. So I try not to be, but not just like force that either, but go on.
Well, with that too, it's also like with check-ins and things like that. We're just talking and it's one-sided. We were talking on a Loom video, and so I'll make jokes, but then it's like no one can give me any feedback there. Um
So thus you're always funny. That's the best
so
part.
yeah, or it always feels awkward. Um but something that we did change, I don't remember when this was, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, was make our check-in process a lot more objective. Whereas previously there were a lot of open-ended questions, and that change was huge for
For
us as
sure.
coaches. For me, I was so much more drained previously because you're taking on all of these details and all of these emotions that weren't helpful for getting them the result.
Hmm.
And now we have so much more information and data without all of the additional details that aren't helpful. And I do feel like it was almost geared more toward that relationship previously. And now we can get such better results because that is more of a distraction to their progress. And again, that can almost sound cold, but when we're getting a fire hose of information, how can you sift through and find the things that are actually important for getting the result that they're hiring you to get, right?
For sure. I so think of it like this. Like if we would have a we could either have like in a check-in, we could have a and there's still plenty of subjective feedback where like, hey, tell us more about this. You know, like there's still plenty of
Yeah.
room to hey, just give us your thoughts. But it could be like a okay, tell me about your digestion this week. What was it like? And we could get like a, well, I had like diarrhea this day and I was constipated this day. And honestly, I think like this was because, or I had like this thing happen with my kid. And so like I didn't have time to poop all day. And I had the XYZ. Or we could have like a rank your Bristol stool chart on average for the week. Where were we? 4. Okay, great. Where, and a lot of times it's like all of this like fire hose when it's just a very open ended for everything. There is a place for open ended questions, and we have some places for open ended questions in our check ins. But when everything is just very open ended up to the interpretation, a lot of times it would be like, yes, this like fire hose of information, but we still didn't get the answer that we wanted, right? It
Mhm.
was like, oh, it was really bad. I had this thing and this thing and this thing happened, but it's like, okay, can we quantify what really bad means? Like, then it would still be like, I'm still going to send them the Bristol stool chart, rank this for me, etc. So yes, it's a more efficient way to like kind of filter through what is actually important. But also, I think a lot of times, if it is just someone like, well, this is an open-ended question, and I need to fill out this. I need to like make sure that it doesn't look like I'm slacking, so I need to give a ton of detail here. It can be easy to just like you as a coach are solving problems that aren't actually problems because like this person said it, now I feel like you need to address this, when it's like, is this actually even an issue, or again is this kind of distracting us from the most important things? So it helps just kind of filter down what do we actually need to be focused on here. I think
Mhm.
that's been tremendously helpful, is like kind of bringing it back to our previous one, like with onboarding, yada yada yada. looking at how I built out the check-ins when we really revamped that was looking at, okay, when I'm asking this question, what is the actual answer that I'm trying to get? And how can I make sure I actually get that so that I don't have to like follow up with this person as far as like, hey, can you give me XYZ detail about this again? Like, okay, Bristol stool chart, for example. And then like I don't hear from them for 24 hours, and then it's like midweek before we've actually solved it. If I can right away and see it was a four and we
Mhm.
had this and this, great. Then I can solve this problem for you so much quicker. And then also just not adding fluff, if that makes sense, as far as like, is there a reason we're tracking this? Do I need like this person's fasted blood glucose, for example? If so, great, but like, do I want everyone to have to track that? Like little things like that. That, yes, that's a really good point. That's been tremendously helpful.
Yeah.
Anything else you would add there?
No.
Okay, cool. Um, let's talk through the phasic method stuff. And then honestly, we have so much left that this might actually be actually let's finish on kind of more of this coaching side of things, and then we might be able to roll the other into a different podcast.
Okay.
Um, as the business has grown, what do we feel like has helped us maintain such a high standard of results? Anything you would add there that we haven't discussed already? I honestly think I'll go first now that I asked you the question.
Okay.
I honestly think that the three of us, you, Natalie, and I feel like everyone is always constantly growing to the degree that you kind of feel like you have to keep growing. And it doesn't feel competitive between the three of us at all. But I do feel like it's like I see like, fuck, like Natalie knows so much about all this like movement stuff all of a sudden. And I'm missing out. I need to know what she knows. And I know that you and I have both felt like that. And now
Yeah.
that's been like, well, okay, I'm digging deeper into this too. Like I'm gonna like hire this person, and that's honestly helped a lot. Is we all truly just love this all so much and are so obsessed with it that uh it helps us continually growing and improving. um Honestly, I think we're all very self-critical, which I don't know is like a positive. I don't know if that's a positive trait, but I do think that is always kind of pushing us to, if a client is struggling, if I feel like I don't know the answer to something, it's like, I need to do better. I have to figure this out. Like I can't just like let this be here. Like I got to get better. And I mean, I do think that has helped a lot. I don't want that to be our driver. And I think we've all grown a lot in that realm as well as just like kind of calming down sometimes. But that has helped. But I truly feel like it is just the like from a results perspective, like we just love all this stuff so much. We have all constantly pushed ourselves, like from a physical perspective, also. We're all still obsessed with this. That's a funny thing in coaching. Like it seems like it's very common that someone starts coaching, they like got really excited about this, they had their own transformation, were really, really into it. And then like when they start coaching, they like stop caring about their own like physique journey. And it's kind of like, well, I just want to maintain where I'm at now, which is more power to you if that's what you want. But I do think it detracts from like, if you're excited about this and you love this, you will learn so much more. You'll have so much more to give people. And because we all just are obsessed with it, our own like physique trans, like continuing to grow, get more jacked, get leaner, those things really does just that excitement. We're always learning and it carries over to clients as well. And just the experiences we've had from constantly like leveling up, it helps us become better coaches. I think those are probably the biggest things.
Yeah, I think that the point of having not that any of us on our own would just like let the quality tank, but I do think there's a high level of respect for the like each of the three of us within the team, and that really goes a long way for like we like you said, it's not competitive, but we do want to not be like a weak link, you know what I mean? And because I'm not saying anything that you didn't say, but because we all love it so much and do all want to continue to learn, if one of us is going down one path, it just kind of like sparks that interest more, And so we've all been able to just kind of continually level each other up. Like I said, I don't think that we would let things slip if we weren't part of a team, but I also think that there's just something about being part of a team where, like we talked about with something else earlier, you don't really know what you don't know. And so it's like three heads are better than one. Like we all have our own individual coaches, we're all learning things and we can bring that together. And I think that that has been something that keeps quality and standards really high.
Yeah, I agree. It is very much we're all have very similar interests, but at the same time, all it seems like everyone always has like something slightly different that they're learning about. Even think about like so last year where like I started working with Leah on not related to like physique development at all, just like my own personal growth and my own personal development. And then like you ended up doing so, and then Natalie did, and it was like,
Mhm.
wait, was it you first? No, it was you first. Yeah,
Was
you
it?
started with her.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, this seems really cool
Sounds
and
helpful.
helpful. I want this. And then Natalie started as well. And then it was like we all, I mean, as people, I feel like we all grew a lot during that time. But yeah, I think that's honestly been one of the most helpful things. So it's a big part of why I appreciate you guys so much. What do you think is the number one leadership skill that's helped you grow as a coach?
Leading, I would say leading from the front. I don't think we can do this well without doing it yourself.
Yeah,
I and that comes back to like having fun with it and being obsessed with it. I just don't know how I could push my clients or get the best from them without doing it myself. That just
totally
sounds
agree.
so hard, like so foreign.
I think that's probably quite similar to my answer, or that's a huge part of it. I think the other is again like l- just actually looking at coaching as leadership rather than people pleasing, which is quite similar to what we discussed before, where if my main focus is telling this person what they want to hear, like if I was your best friend and all I ever told you was what I thought she wanted to hear, I'd be a shitty friend, right? It's oftentimes like those hard conversations are where we grow. Same thing, like as a coach, my role is to lead you. The best leaders, it's not always like they were always like saying the things that like made them the most popular in the moment. Not always like necessarily best friends with everyone, but they aren't afraid to challenge people. They aren't afraid to push them. And again, like give affirmation where it is warranted. That's I think been the biggest thing is again just actually looking at it as if my goal here is to be the best leader, which it is, how would I act versus what's going to make me the most comfortable in the moment? What's going to make this person the most comfortable in the moment? I think that's helped me the most.
Yeah.
Anything else you would add there before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. I think those are the biggest rocks for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. If you do enjoy the podcast, do us a huge favor. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Helps us reach more people, grow the show. If you would like to apply for work for coaching with our team, hit the link in the show notes, and we'll catch you guys next time.